Welcome to the Love Happy Hour with me, Mingo, and your distinguished host, Kailen Rosenberg. I said Rosenberg.
Rosenberger. I'm cutting you off.
Yeah, I had just a couple of sips.
Did you?
I'm already done, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I went with the movie phone vibe. I don't know if that worked.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, it was an attempt, yeah.
What do you think it was, you guys? Okay, it was cool. It's always super cool. Mingo.
Yeah, I just kind of winged it, you know.
We saw that.
We know.
We heard that. Yes. Okay, but we're liking it, right?
Yeah, that's good. Keeps it fun.
Oh, I'm just like, can we just do this for like an hour?
Yeah, can we just have a dance party?
And one, and two. It's been that kind of week, you guys.
Yep.
Mm-hmm, it is. Well, welcome. Welcome to the Love Happy Hour with me and Mingo, my producer, the one who pretty much almost every single person that I've spoken to since we started. I think this is our 5th episode, right?
Yeah, this will be episode 5.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. It's already 5.
I know.
I feel like it's kind of flying by.
It's gone so fast.
Yeah, I know. Where's the time gone?
Everyone likes Mingo.
Hey,
I'm so excited.
That's exciting too. Yeah, no one even knows. They don't even see my face.
I know. I actually had a conversation with someone about that this morning.
Yep.
Yeah. So I had a really, really long business meeting this morning. And at the end, this woman says, "By the way, I've been watching your podcast and I really like it." And I said, "Oh, thank you. That's great." And she said, "But I really like Mingo. He's really good. When do we get to see him?" And
that's kind of awesome. I appreciate that.
I know. I told her I would tell you. And
I think it's great that everyone likes it. Because I'm new to this, so I've never done a podcast. And I feel like the stuff you talk about, I feel like I can really contribute some personal experience.
That's what I'm hearing.
So it's exciting that the topics we discuss are things that I feel like I can really say something about.
That's
and
right.
the fact that people respond good, which is also great.
I know. I love it. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, thanks for choosing me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, thanks for choosing me.
Yeah, it's mutual.
It's cute.
Yep.
I love it. So that was cute and that was fun. And then she said, "What does he look like?" And I said, "He's married." And she's like, "No." I asked, "What does he look like?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, you tell me." Actually, we were kind of curious. Mingo and I were saying, "Hey, it'd be fun to have people draw pictures right in," and you know, because he's the voice.
I'm the voice.
He's the voice, and it was crazy because I said, "Okay, tell me what you think," and she described him to an absolute T.
No way, that's crazy.
Yes, and I'm like, "Do you
maybe
guys
it's the voice or something? Maybe she's picked up on the vibes."
I'm not even going to give any.
Maybe she look. I mean, there's a lot of Mingos out there.
There are a lot of Mingos out there in Minnesota.
Yep.
Yeah, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, you guys. So I'm smacking my gum. I'm sorry for being rude and having poor manners, but
got to do it here in Minnesota.
I'm gonna chew my gum and get into life.
Mm-hmm.
Get into life. Okay, so it's actually been 2 weeks since we've been together.
Yep. Yeah. 2 weeks. So a lot can happen in 2 weeks.
A lot can happen. Yeah. Everything is boring in our world. But no, so let's see, what do we do? Every year, my entire family and I, on my husband's side, go up to, we call it up north here in Minnesota, and to a resort that they have been going to since he was a little tyke. And you're not invited as a partner or anything until you're married.
Oh, really?
Okay. Rules.
Interesting. That's kind of cool, actually.
I agree. Yeah, my kids are thinking
probably
it
makes
sucks
a unique atmosphere, I would think.
Yeah.
Just married people. Is that how that works?
Well, I mean, the kids, and it's trying to, keep the foundation and the values and the boundary of like, hey, we're not just going to all come up and have a big sex fest.
Sure, I guess.
Not that happens anyway. Okay, well. Anyway, digressing.
Moving on.
Yes, moving on. But no, so we were all up there, and it's like 20 plus of us. It's really cool, and especially as the family grows. And we also, it was really sweet, we had a wedding. So my niece just got married to the most amazing man. It's one of those couples that you're like, oh yeah, they're totally going to make it. I mean, they just are absolutely, truly madly in love with each other. They've been together for many years. They have a beautiful friendship and relationship. Yeah. And it's really an example of how it should just be and how it can be. So I have to say, I think it's probably the most emotional I've ever been at a wedding. And here sorry, Alex, my oldest son, who just got married last year. Yeah. That was emotional too.
Yeah.
But this was just, it's just kind of a different level. And I feel like I'm throwing shade. But, okay, so Alex, yes, you and your wife have a lovely, lovely relationship too. But there's a lot more history to this situation. And so anyways, just beautiful wedding, beautiful ceremony. And then we all sort of hunkered down afterwards and just hung out together in nature and
which is also really nice.
Man, and so just good. Just needing to just unplug and unwind. And
I'm sure that also contributes to just the wedding and the whole experience being, more emotional and more like real.
Because it was up north in nature?
Yeah. Keeps you more present. Everyone can relax a little bit. I feel like when you're in the cities, there's just different energy.
Yeah, that could be.
I feel like it can contribute to that a little bit, I would think. Because I know, like, if I go to the cabin versus if I go to, like, Airbnb in the city somewhere, it just feels different. Or even if you go to, like, a really busy city, like going to, like, California or something like that, like, the energy there is way different.
Oh, yeah.
It's
the
intense.
Vibe, the people.
You're just like, whoa, everything's just, like, super intense. So it's just, you go somewhere that's a little further away from less people. It's more chill. You're up north,
Up north.
Yeah. It changes.
It's funny because as you're saying that, I'm thinking, yes, and I'm vibing with what you're saying, that it's like the tranquility of the nature and the tall pine trees and the water and the fresh air. And but then you also have your people that are like screaming and yelling, not at our cabin, and throwing beer cans out of their car, out of their truck.
Got to have a little, it's a double-edged sword,
I think it's kind of that whole thing, wherever you go, there you are. And whoever you are, there you are. And there, so people experience.
Yep.
Yeah. But what's been going on with you the last couple of weeks?
Nothing too crazy. I went to, I saw a show at First Ave. I saw Killer Mike. Okay. You probably don't know who that is.
No, I'm too old.
Yeah, that's okay. It's a super awesome show. So he's hip hop. I mean, anyone who knows who Killer Mike is will know. Mm-hmm. He's a singer in the group called Run the Jewels. Okay. But he's done his own solo thing, and his album Michael won Album of the Year last year.
Oh,
so
really?
that's what he came to perform.
Oh, sweet.
And it was so cool. He had a set of background singers. He had his DJ, and I was literally felt like I was in church, but it was all like rap. Heavy Atlanta rap music, and it was so good.
I know how much you love music.
Oh yeah, it was the best hip hop show I've ever seen.
Oh, you're kidding! That's so great.
It was so good, and the whole crowd was so into it. Like it was just good vibes.
Okay, isn't that neat? Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't mean to like steal your thing that you're doing or saying right now, because I'm sure there's. But I'm sorry. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to have my ADD moment. I'm going to do it as the love architect.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is popping up all over the place. You just said everyone was really into it, really having a great time. It's just we're all together.
Yep.
I promise you that there were Democrats and Republicans
I guarantee it. Absolutely.
I promise you there were lovers and haters of all different
white people and black people. So Mike, Killer Mike's a black dude, and his music is very black, which is even more badass because I felt like I was at like black people church, and they are so cool, and they're so
right in the way
they're so sure of themselves, and it's like you guys are so awesome, like. Oh, it was, and he doesn't give a shit who was there.
There you go.
He was so into it, and he loved everybody. Right. He's such a good person. Like it was just, and I think the collective vibe, the mix of all the weird ideologies, no one cared because we were all people in that moment. And I think that's why the energy of that like room and the whole show was so good.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
So it's just there are always pockets of that experience, and I was trying to use it up north with the younger kids, right?
Yeah.
Saying like,
sure.
Because so here you were. And no one's noticing other than anything other. I haven't even had a sip of my cocktail yet. No one is noticing anything other than they're all connecting on like you said, the same vibe, enjoying and appreciating and respecting this amazing artist.
Yep.
And everyone is like, I bet you probably could have all like held hands and just totally kumbaya'd together.
Like that's what it was. It was kumbaya, but in hip hop style. It was
cool.
Like it was great, and I feel like that's what art does. Whether it's music or like a good movie, even if you go to an art gallery and just look at some stuff that's from any kind of person, I feel like art sort of pulls you out of your ego a little bit and puts you into like a real space.
That's really good. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And music does it more so because it's so ethereal. It's so like unphysical. It's all sound and vibrations and a lot of stuff. So I think it gets to you quicker than like visual stuff.
Okay.
So, and especially when you go to a show, you go out there, you get all dressed up and there's a bunch of people and it's commotion. Then the music comes on, it's super loud, but it just gets you into the mood and you're just like, ooh, and then you hear a bunch of music that you already know and you're like, yes, let's go. Yeah. So it was good.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
Me too. I was surprised. I didn't know what to expect because I'd never seen him before. So.
Oh, I love it. I'm so glad you had such a good time. Yep. And at the same time, though, as when we're up north, we're on the boat and we're going along, and we had one of the younger nieces on the boat, and she noticed that each boat that went by of complete strangers were all smiling and waving at us, and we're waving at them. She's like, "Do we know them?" And we're like, "No, that's lake etiquette."
I know. I feel like that's totally
what about
within the lake. No, nobody cares.
Land etiquette.
Yeah, I know, right? It just why has water changed people?
Yeah, water, music, art.
Plus, you're on the ocean. Then who knows? You get some pirates and some weird people.
Okay, thanks for.
Sorry, I had to bring it down. Yeah. No, but there's totally lake culture. That's especially here in Minnesota too.
Yes.
We got so many lakes, So I think it's just like a thing. You just like if you're on the lake, you're having a good time. It's like everyone's having a good time. Yes, and you cheer everybody.
Yes.
It's like, hey.
Yeah.
It's so
It's
great.
not, okay, before I can wave and even smile at you.
Who are you?
What do you believe in? Who are you voting for? No. Come on, people. We can all love each other. Come on. I'm going to be doing this till
we can totally do it too without
old.
like who cares about politics? It's such a superficial like way to connect. And I feel like it's just easy to grab people's minds, because it's everywhere. Let's say it's all over social media and it's also heavy with, opinion and opposition, and really it's not that big of a deal. It's you vote for somebody and they do the thing and you just continue living your life. It's just weird that there's so much weight put on politics now that it's almost it's too visceral. It's too like intense for people.
Well, you know what it is?
What?
So I was thinking about this the other day. So it is that when you said, well, who cares about politics? We do. Actually, we really do, Mingo.
Yeah.
But sadly, we care, which is why it's so hardcore.
Yeah.
In each human's belief system, especially those that are just, heels dug in.
Yep.
Because the state of our environment that affects everything within our lives is so uncomfortable and painful and frightening and unstable. And so no one wants it. We're all like at a heightened level of anxiety, an energetic, spiritual kind of anxiety. And it's kind of like being the kids in the really toxic home, right? That has the alcoholic parents and the fighting. And you've got some kids that are like siding with mom and some that are siding with dad, and then they're at each other. And it's really like we're just a bunch of children
like
in this country, and we need our parent, the president, and vice versa, to have their shit together in a really grounded, mature, healthy, loving way. But they can't do that if they haven't worked out their own trauma.
Yeah.
And so that's what we have. We have these heads of country. And, this whole political campaign running off of the unhealed wounds from everyone's freaking childhood.
Yeah.
And we're all reacting as a bunch of scared kids that are ready
looking up to them like for hope or something.
Right. Well, but we are, and we kind of have no choice but to. But yet, look what we have. Just like kiddos that are stuck in homes where there's a lot of toxicity and abuse, or neglect, or addiction, or whatever. So it's all the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just all the same thing. But yet, when we're away from it for a moment and we have a second to have a different experience of space and identity for that moment, which brings some level of freedom, again, art, the concert, out on the boat.
Yep, or going up north,
we can be kind and just like totally see a total stranger and be like, hey.
It's because you drop the act a little bit,
you drop a lot.
Yeah.
And you kind of get to the kind of almost the heart center and the balance naturally of who you really are beneath all of that stuff.
All your like defense mechanisms
there you
and
go.
Stuff. Yeah.
Your pain, your wounds, So man, that stuff is heavy.
Yeah, I know. It's so heavy, and it's really weird how it's just a slight shift. Because I had some friends over last night, and my friend, I hadn't met his girlfriend before, but she came over. You could tell she's very nervous. So they'll talk a lot and they'll get really quiet, and you can tell like they don't know if they want to be here, if they're liking it. So we played this card game, and it's called We're Not really strangers, and it's just questions, and you just answer stuff, and then they have levels to it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun. We sit around and we do these things, and it's really generic stuff at first, and then it's a little more personal, and then it gives people the opportunity to like, one, just chit chat, and then talk about some more personal things, and then, like you said, it gets to that heart center to where suddenly people realize that they can connect, and that there is mutual sharing somewhere, and then suddenly they feel comfortable and they feel okay and they feel like they made a friend, you know?
Amen, yes.
Yeah, and there's always somewhere that you can connect on some level, because we're all human. So, you know, maybe you don't have the same hobbies or all that other BS, but like, you know, everyone's going through some shit. So like, if you get to that point and you share some of that, then like, oh, you're normal too. Oh, me too. I'm kind of messed up. Oh, you are too. Great. We're the same.
Yeah, we're going through this stuff together. And how can we support each other? And how can we be an ear for one another? And that's what we really, really need more of. And again, that is always my focus in the work that I do. And again, so many of you that just think, oh, Kailen, she's that matchmaker. She's that elite matchmaker that works with all these rich, wealthy people. I do work with a lot of rich, wealthy people. And I do a lot of matchmaking. But the highest, it's, again, part of what I do. Also, again, healer, coach, healer of families and individuals. But it's all the same thing with the same focus of trying to just heal whatever dynamic is showing up in our lives that is keeping us from love, from the true higher energy of love, so we can have more peace. So I guess we kind of covered what's the state of the world. I mean, the state of the world is, geez, we had our Olympics that were controversial, starting with what they said was mocking Jesus and the what do we call it, the Last Supper? The Last Supper. I'm a Christian, and I'm like,
what is it? I don't remember the Bible thing.
And then it went out with a bang that everybody's talking about how it was really satanic and it had really evil, crappy stuff. And again, it's so much as with everything is. It's never meant to be an excuse, but it's how we look at it. It's how we look at it. It's how we perceive it. So much of how we look at things and perceive things, as you know, is based on our filters, based on how we feel about things, see things within ourselves, within one another, how judged we've been, how well we've been seen or truthfully we've been seen. I mean, there's a constant psychological and spiritual dynamic going on all the time with every word and every thought and every move we make in life every day with ourselves and with one another. So they're saying that was just kind of crappy.
So like, I wonder, you know, because I think for some people what you're kind of saying is that some people will project their own stuff onto it, and then like that's...
Everyone does.
Yeah, so...
We all do.
Well, I know everybody does. So, like, on that level, what if there are some people who are sort of neutral about it, and then they hear someone's opinion, and then they absorb that as their own, and they're like, oh, yeah, that is bad. You know, like, what, like, how much do you think that happens other than people, or maybe that they share that projection, they realize that, oh, yeah, and then they project it themselves?
I think I'm understanding you.
It's kind of worded it poorly.
No, it's okay. I'm just going to sort of respond, and then you can change it or say it again or ask me something different. You know, I said, well, we all do that. We all project. Yeah. I'm constantly projecting, right? So when I'm talking, when I'm speaking, when I'm doing my work, I'm projecting everything I've been through in my life, everything painful, everything I've healed, the love that I have for myself, the love I have for others, how I see the world. And so even when we were talking on our last podcast about how everyone said that it was just really demonic and dark and awful, and the white horse on the river and the Seine, I saw it as absolutely beautiful and stunning and artistic and creative. And even when people said, and I'll back up and I'll say, you know, part of the reason I saw it that way, you know, grew up with a grandmother that was an artist, have always had a great appreciation for art and creativity and design. And also, though, really trying to look at the reality of why we were all there, the largest picture of that. And so my heart was coming from a place of seeking to understand, being curious, appreciative of someone's creative gift and art, and to come from love. And I'm not saying that that's like, oh, then that's how you do it. It'd be cool if we all did it that way, and that's not about me. That's just where I come from in my life based on, again, where I've been and what I hope to see in this world. But, you know, there are times in my past when I hadn't done a lot of healing, and I would project anything that scared me or felt threatening, I would project hard and, you know, fast onto that. And something negative, and there's a difference between negative and just calling something what it is, even if it's uncomfortable, but doing it in a way and in a in a place where it gives space for it to be neutralized, for it to heal, for there to be growth that comes from it, instead of just being stagnant and stuck in what one sees as bad.
Yeah. So when it comes to stuff like that, like the experts who are there to kind of guide some of that, like do you think some are helping, some are hurting, or is there like a mix of it, or does it maybe depend on where the expert's at personally and
totally
spiritually,
does.
like how they handle their own stuff?
Oh yeah, that's an excellent question. It was fun having Jen last time.
It was great.
She's
that was
really good.
What a good contribution, because we had a lot of cool conversation.
Yeah, we need to have her back again.
No, for sure. She had a lot of really like. She has a very simple but like effective way to consider things, because I feel like I go super deep, and I'm like, oh, I get really deep, and then she's like, well, but actually it can also be just really simple. I'm like, oh, you're right.
Right.
Maybe it can just be that simple. So it's cool to see such a different perspective that's also equally as effective.
That's right.
Yeah.
It can make true healing and awareness really far more simple.
Like practical too.
Yeah, there
like,
you go.
Yeah. So that was kind of a cool. She brought a good element to it, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. But to answer your question, I think that in general what I'm finding, and I know you and I were chatting before we started the show today, on how I want to start doing some, I don't know, what do you call it, picture-in-picture, when they have the clips, and then I get to look at them, listen to them along
Analyze
with
them
you,
a little bit,
and then share my opinion and my thoughts and kind of what I agree with and I support, and see what you feel as well, and then kind of what I think maybe isn't being so incredibly helpful. I think right now the majority of the experts and the influencers and what I'm seeing out there isn't helpful.
Yeah.
I think it's focused way too much on the stuck psychology of, again, going to the whole, my Lord, the attention on narcissism is nuts.
And, well, I feel like that's social media to a T almost. I mean, it's about your followers. So, I feel like it's all about being somebody.
Sure. Which is part of narcissism.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I feel like social media is sort of kind of built on that a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, which is a bummer.
It is a bummer, yeah. So I think, just there's too much pointing things out, shining a light, which that's good. We can't see things clearly unless we can see with light. Mm-hmm. But then see with not just the light, like the light that's shining on me so that this might, I'm a little more clear. But then the light, like let's lighten it, and then let's shed light like love onto it. Again, to understand where is this behavior coming from? What is this really about? Not only from the person towards you or someone else, but also with regard to your own behavior. And there's not enough of that. There's not enough. It's like he's a narcissist, she's a narcissist. Here are the top 5 signs of narcissism. Here's this, here's that, here's what. Run for your life. And I'm not agreeing with the majority of that, you guys. I'm really, really, really not. And I can't wait to get more into that, to explain that. And I'm sure that, again, I feel like every podcast I say, there are going to be people who are going to drop out. Oh, okay, that was my...
Yeah.
It is not what I ate, if you guys heard that. It is literally...
This chair just tube scooting boogieing over here. It just does what it wants.
Yeah, sure. And then when I try to do it, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Totally how it goes. Great, fabulous. No, but anyway... I just want to be able to get people, I want to be able to, yes, recognize things for what they are, especially the things that are painful and that keep us in humanity stuck. But then what is our part in it? Mm-hmm. How are we part of the equation on any level? And that doesn't mean you cause certain things. Sometimes, this goes deep. We're going to have to we have to really do an entire piece on this.
Yeah.
But it's bigger. It's bigger than all this. The stuff. It's just driving me crazy. It's driving me crazy.
Yeah, and I wonder if too, like when it comes to social media, like I don't know if, maybe those aren't really the experts. They may have a lot of followers. Well, are these like renowned therapists and stuff like that? Oh, interesting.
Doctors.
So that's interesting.
Psychology.
I guess you could say that we could go down a whole rabbit hole on that.
Best-selling authors.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd love to get them on my show and just let's go. Let's lovingly debate. Let's do it. I'm not kidding.
It'd be interesting to see their perspective too and how they view, because maybe it's a part of their worldview too.
Well, there you go.
And then it makes me wonder too, because if some of their things that they're offering doesn't work, then it makes me wonder, do they apply those things to themselves, or do they just parrot back book stuff?
Oh.
It just makes me wonder, because if they actually applied it and it didn't work, you would easily, as just like a normal person, be like, let's not do that anymore. That's stupid. That doesn't work.
Right.
Especially if you're, it's like a scientist in a way. You have to kind of experiment and go keep the stuff that works and not use the stuff. So, I mean, just like, when Jen was here, she works with a lot of people. So she's had a lot of time to know what works and, shuffle aside the stuff that doesn't. And, having the practice and like the repetition, I feel like you would find ways, just like me as a salesman too, like, how to say things right that get people to respond and open up and talk. And, so you learn what works and what doesn't. So it's just weird that they would,
based on what their needs are.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know. So no, I'm losing my zest for a lot of the experts out there right now. I mean, other than that, Jimmy, it depends on the area. So Jimmy, I think, is spot on. So Jimmy on relationships, we've talked about him before. We actually tried to get some of his stuff and share it on the podcast or on the actual video, the footage, and it is heavily guarded. Which, Jimmy, why? I'm trying to share your good stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, even in that regard, too, I know we had some viewers respond to the last podcast about some filters, about some of the filter talk that we had.
Yeah.
And how social media kind of fakes out people and really makes you look different than what you are. And will kind of change you into whatever you want to be, I guess, or turn you younger or prettier, or, I mean, whatever that word means, too. Prettier is sort of a subjective term.
Yeah. No, and it's funny, too, actually. I thought about this. Yeah, we did. I had some people. It's so funny. They either email me. I'm like, don't email me. I mean, you can. No, thank you. I do appreciate you. No, do keep emailing me. Yep. You're going to my website, which is great. But again, you can email producer at KailenRosenberg.com.
Or if you're streaming, there's a lot of places where if you're listening, I don't think you can do it on Apple Music, but like
most people
iHeartRadio and a bunch of other ones, there's a text feature too. You can click and you can text questions too.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yep. Well, but yeah, if everyone's on, Apple Music,
so far it seems
it's up
like
there
it.
still, but maybe, some people that got your stuff, they're contacting you through your website or something. Yeah.
Well, they were first saying that they were really surprised. They weren't completely sure what I was talking about. And I said, okay, if you're single, you'll totally get it, because I've not heard one male or one female that has been online that hasn't said that they were absolutely dumbfounded when they met most of the people
almost
in person.
Almost catfished or something?
Yeah, just didn't look at all like the person. And it's not meant to be superficial. It's just, let's start with honesty, right?
Yeah.
This is who I am. This is what I look like. Here I went through this whole thing, and while I'm responding to, a handful of different people with their thoughts, men and women of different ages, on this whole thing of why I needed to point that out, and is it as big of a deal as I thought? I'm like, that's interesting. But I don't know if you'll notice, not that you really stare at me that much when you're looking while I'm talking, but my face barely moves. See this? This is like me. I was joking with my kids the other day. I'm like, this is me really mad. This is me really happy. This is me really. And they're like, what? I'm like, I freaking got Botoxed again. I did.
Yeah.
Which was so dumb.
Yeah. I've never done it. I don't know if I ever will.
You don't need to when you're a guy.
Nope.
Sorry, guys. I know there's some of you that have done it.
Totally.
It doesn't always look that good, you guys.
Yeah.
I love a man that just lets his face just do its
to
thing.
Get all rugged and like, I'm a man.
Yeah. And as women, we want to look all rugged and like a man.
Yeah, but you ladies got it a little tough too. There's a different expectation out there, so
But it's to what degree do we buy into it, right? And
That's true.
Obviously, me, the one who's preaching about this. So here, I hadn't had any Botox for 9 months. Usually, you get it about every 3 to 4 months, and it had been 9 months. And part of it was that I was really liking the feeling of my face moving. It made me feel normal.
Yeah.
And I liked that I had expression.
Yep.
I mean, no, it hurts because my forehead wants to go up.
But
it's just
doesn't do anything.
It's just like,
that's so crazy.
It is. It's weird. Like it's trying so hard to lift like an 800-pound weight, and it can't.
It just doesn't work.
But I'm like, it was almost like a pattern. Like, oh my gosh, I haven't had Botox forever. Well, I might as well just go get a little bit. Well, it had been so long since I had it that my face just kind of like freaked out. It's actually a little better today. The other day, I literally looked like a mannequin. I could barely smile.
Stone cold. That's so wild.
But now I don't love it. So I need to find the happy medium because the whole thing of, so I'm going into filters. So we can filter even when we're putting a ton of filler in our face. So we're getting Botoxed, or it's like, okay, to what degree, how much, why?
Yeah.
I've had to, I'm having more and more of a sit down with myself as to why.
Yeah.
I can buy into all the BS yet reality BS of, being on television, being on social media, being in the spotlight, and aging. I don't look like I did when I was in my 20s and 30s and 40s. But yet then why does that matter so much? And at what point are you good enough, or are you okay? Or so I'm just telling you, not that you couldn't tell, obviously, like my face and all the other podcasts moved all over the place, and now that doesn't, and it won't for 4 months, other than my mouth, basically, or my nose flaring. Yeah. I think it's important to just talk about. Just the bottom line is to just, again, get part of getting really centered with and learning to really love yourself as you are. And my goodness, if we could promote that as beautiful, how neat would that be?
So maybe it's a little tricky too, because I think,
I'm gonna drink to that.
I'll drink too. Hell yeah.
Okay, this is my first sip. Okay.
All right.
Ting,
ting.
ting.
This is like my
and mine's just
sip.
like dripping. I'm not a very good drinker. I was going to say alcohol.
Elka drinker?
Okay, Elka drinker.
Yep.
Hold on. What were you saying?
What was I going to say? Something to the extent of, like, maybe there's an element to it where, as you age, maybe there's a level of identification with your body and, like, how you look. And then that gets stuck. And then as you age, things change. So, like, needing to, like, reconnect with the way your body looks as you get into different decades.
Yes.
So,
that's good.
Maybe there's an element there where you're just so stuck with a certain time area, so that's...
Oh, okay, that was deep.
Yeah, so maybe to, like, if you're going to do some work on it, be okay with you in your 50s, or like, or if I'm going to be 70, I'll be 70 someday.
Amen.
And be cool with the old dude who just looks a little weathered and, has been through some shit.
Right. Your face, your life tells the story. Yeah. But I think, there's a lot there, Mingo, because, again, it is 100% and only society that has put it in our heads that aging gracefully and having lines and having wrinkles and skin that's sagging and all of that just doesn't sound real fun or sexy.
Is, like, not cool.
Is ugly. Is ugly and unacceptable. And that's because it has been put in our heads and our mind that way.
Yep.
And yet the polar opposite of that I think is so incredibly organically wonderful and beautiful is when you have the opportunity to fall in love and age with someone.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. You don't see, when you really love them, you don't see. You'll notice, you'll recognize the change, the shift, in their body, how it looks today, how it once looked before, how it acts or behaves or wherever it is. But instead of looking at it like with any level of judgment or being turned off or anything, you actually look at it with respect, admiration. It's darling. You love them almost even more, and you're going through it together. And there's so little out there really talking about that, right? It's sharing that. It's so much is just so incredibly, again, superficially focused, and we get so stuck in that to the point of where we lose out and we miss out on the greatest, deepest parts and connection of love, seriously. So, it's just...
That's a tricky one, too, because it's almost, there's another slight shift where, if you're looking with the body's eyes, it's more surface level and generic. So, like, if you're with someone, and you don't fully deepen that relationship to the point to where you see it from, like, the heart of your eyes or your spirit or whatever you want to call it.
Your soul.
Your soul sees them, and then it doesn't really matter what they look like. They're always pretty.
Yes. Yes.
You know, so like,
yes.
And it's always there. You know, they might be scrubby one day, and other day they'll put on all their stuff and all their outfits, and they'll be like, "Wow, you're so hot," you know. And then other times where they're just being a scrub, and it's like, "Oh, you're still let's snug," you know, like
absolutely.
It's always there, and and then you sort of in that moment you're willing to like let go of the lustfulness that your eyes can give you.
Oh, is that so good?
Yeah, it's hard though. Like especially for me as a man, I feel like men are very visual animals. So in my experience, that's been a tough one. Yeah. To surrender.
Yes.
So and it's but I think having this opportunity to be married and commit to a woman and go through that journey has been rewarding and difficult.
Yes, that's so honest.
Yeah. But it's very real though, because when it flips and you can let go of the lusty stuff, which is just a quick, impulse buy, and doesn't really give you anything. It means nothing. No, it doesn't. You get the hit and you're like, oh, okay, well, that was stupid.
Yeah, and
but with the person that you're always with, it's always good, and then you have the moments where you get the hit, but it's not lust. It's like ecstasy, love, and it's like, and it's so awesome. And you're like, wow, this is so amazing.
That's right.
And it's always there, and it never goes away, and you don't feel weird about it.
Amen.
Yeah, so that's...
So you guys, what Mingo and I are talking about. Mingo is really blessed and fortunate to be married, to be happily married, to really love his wife, to be friends and buds with his wife.
Yeah.
I am really in love with my husband. He's my buddy. He's my friend.
Yeah.
We've been together 26 years, and I still look at him and think he's absolutely hot. And I also see how he's aging, just like he sees now how I've aged and I'm aging. We've been together since our 20s, and yet there's. Like he was saying, that kind of that it's a mental game, and that ego quick fix, and it's actually not a fix. It's an illusion and delusion.
Yeah.
Because it can also really only lead you further away from the goods, like what you really want. And so when you get captivated by the visual and what that might be and what that might mean, and that is actually you kind of at one of your lowest states of I can't think of the term right now, but frequency.
Yeah.
Because you're right. Because sex can be absolutely amazing for men and women, right? And you were saying men are really visual. Women are really visual too, right? We get stimulated and turned on by a hot guy or hot whatever, and it's a great body, or what we deem as a great body, or this or that, or toned or not, or skin, eyes or lips, or we know, right? We're humans, and yet at the end of the day, when you get really, really honest and real with yourself, none of any of that has anything to do with the best sex in the world.
Correct.
None at all.
Nope.
At all.
Doesn't matter, because when you're connected, it's just It's the visual so unnecessary.
Everything, the touch, the hold, it's the best.
Yep.
It's just the best. Exactly.
It's like you're in your mind's eye, and it's just like, oh,
there you
are.
go, and that's the real stuff.
Yeah.
And and it's even over the years when I used to model professionally years ago, and worked with some models that were also like swimsuit models, and they were incredible. They had like the most flawless, perfect bodies in the world, literally, that every male or female would want, and yet many of them were so self-conscious. So they were walking backwards out of a bedroom, no differently than a woman who was supposedly way overweight and never took care of her body at all. I mean, just self-conscious, didn't feel good. So it's energy, it's love, it's the energy of love, it's of true connectivity that is so massive and amazing, and that I want everyone to have. I don't even remember how we got on this subject.
I don't know. We were talking about filters. We did
there we go.
I mean, that's it's really owning up, and maybe filters are just like a quick fix too. It's kind of like I feel hurt. Well, I'll just put this on. I can shield myself.
Ooh.
It's like a little facade for your online profile.
This is why you guys all like him.
Yeah. Well, so even to that respect, I think there's an element where people feel either hurt, or they've had trauma, or they've been disrespected on some level. So like how can people handle that in a healthy way that maybe doesn't put them into a place of defense where they feel like they need to filter or hide themselves and be okay with themselves?
I didn't totally understand your question, but let's do a
just in terms of
play.
Like, how do you handle disrespect?
Let's role play.
Okay.
So, criticize me and put me down. I'm going to show you.
Your hair's stupid and you got too much Botox and you're really short.
Oh, he goes low.
Yeah,
right for the just jugular.
Take that. Yeah.
Look at my face. Look at doesn't do anything.
You can't even cry right.
Whoa, he is on fire. Whoa.
Don't get me started here again.
Narcissist. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so you just told me I was really short.
Yep.
My face doesn't move and it's dumb. All these things. Okay, so you just threw a bunch of stuff at me.
Yep.
My response can either be, as you know, and a lot of you know this, but you don't really do what you'll see in a sec. So, okay, so you just threw a bunch of arrows. You just attacked the crap out of me, right? So I can actually 3 ways I can respond. One is, what an asshole. Look at you. Are you kidding me?
Throw him back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who do you think you are saying that to me?
Yeah.
You're da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which left me in a space of complete deflection.
Yep.
No opportunity to try to seek to understand why you said what you said. You may not have said it with any kindness or love, but I believe there is always an ounce of truth. Teeny, teeny, even ounce of truth to everything. But it doesn't mean that it's even bad.
Yeah.
It's, what is it? Where does it come from? Why? And what can I learn from it? How can I take what you just did and threw at me and use it as a gift and a teacher for learning and for growing and for healing?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So if you're throwing stuff at me and I'm like, so I'm either like, oh yeah, well you, but, or, oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that to me. That is so mean. And so now I'm just not even going to be your friend anymore. And we're not working together anymore, Mingo. You're not my friend. And now I'm super insecure and I'm going to go look at myself in the mirror. I'm going to go measure myself and see how short I am. And I'm going to do this and this. And I'm not going to get Botox again. And no.
So it's like the opposite. Well, it's
right. So then I go,
like
okay.
Closing in.
Right. So if I do that, okay. Even though it wasn't very nice what you said, it wasn't lifting. It wasn't said in a very kind way. And I know all of that, but yet you said it to me, and yet what matters most isn't really that you said it to me, it's how it affected me. It's how I received it. And so if I'm taking all of that in as something that is just crushing, why? Where does that come from? Oh, okay, well, let's think. It could go back to my mom. It could go to my stepdad. It could go to the mean girls in 8th grade. This would have been an old therapy session. I've done a ton of work around this. It could have been an ex-boyfriend, an ex-husband that I love and adore, and we're best friends now. It could have been, and I was just as bad to him. It could have been all these things, and so that are still there. So it's like, whoa, actually, Mingo, thank you. So here's the other response. Mingo, I don't love, honestly, how you shared that with me. I'm not sure why you did, and some of it actually did feel a little hurtful, more so because I really wasn't expecting to hear any of that. But I thank you for sharing how you feel, because I care about you, and some of those actually hit me a little bit. And so I thank you for giving me that opportunity to see what I still have left inside of me that I can heal and work on even more, because I really do love myself, and I know that I'm a really good person, and I love that I'm short, and I don't love that I just got Botox, and I love that I don't love it, because I used to love it, and I'm growing up and waking up more, but thank you for that opportunity, and I hope that, Mingo, whatever it is in you that would have you say something to me in a way that would be hurtful or mean, that there would be some healing done there for you, because you're really an amazing, lovely man. Yeah. Right?
That's a pretty good response. Kind of leaves it. I feel like it almost derails, because like your first response was just, well, let's just keep the battle going.
And that's what happens. Back. Let's go.
Which is, I mean, if you look at the world, that's sort of what it does.
It's what you do.
They kill some people. Okay, we'll kill your people.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like bam, 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 back and forth. The other one is just you go run and hide.
Right.
Sit in a little closet and just run from your pain.
Yep.
And then the other one is sort of like, and then the other one's kind of cool, because it's a good in between, but it's also courageous and honest.
Yeah.
You know, because you're like, okay, so maybe there's some truth to that, but also like, you know, or just to seek to understand, like, okay, why did you, I'm wondering why you said that. Why do you think that?
Yes. Oh my gosh, and that part is so intense, and there can be so much healing and bonding and awareness around that. Somebody can say something to you that is so off the wall. They can accuse you of something that has zero reality to it, call you something that is just like, you're really not, or maybe you are a little and you're not aware, but seek to understand and see where there could be the possibility of it, or seek to, again, where it comes from. But to be able to land in a space of, again, truly compassion. I know that's hard for people when you've been attacked and you're really hurt and someone's been really mean to you you're like, go to compassion. Well, what person do you know who's happy and healthy in a spiritual and mental space throws daggers at anyone? No one. So the whole thing of hurt people, that's what's going on. So that's why it's so important when you're feeling attacked or someone is attacking you with whatever is inside of them that is hurting, that they need you to know and they need to even potentially hurt you, to like sit back and go, oh, whoa. You don't have to grab all the daggers. You just have to like watch it like a superhero. Like none of them hit you, but they're kind of like hovering, like, and you just kind of go.
You can do the Neo thing and just stop the bullets.
Yeah.
But I mean, not even that. You don't have to like defend yourself. It's
exactly.
It's
these are interesting. Let me look at these for a minute. And look at you and
That's tough though, to be not so reactive. I feel like to being less reactive, you really have to know yourself or be okay with yourself more so.
Yes.
So that's maybe like a progressive thing. As you practice that, you get better at doing that, because, even on the simple level for myself, just being in retail forces you to be that way, because people that are very difficult customers, you can literally kill them with kindness by just being nice. And like, oh, totally. And if you be nice enough, eventually they say what they need to say. They get what they want, even if you don't actually give them what they want. And then they realize that they're just being kind of aggressive and out of control, and like, sorry I was being so crazy or so mean or whatever. It doesn't always happen like that, but there's a lot of people that will realize that they're being mean because you don't give them mean back.
Amen, because you're being a safe mirror.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, you're being a good mirror. So if you don't mirror back anger, then they realize that they're the only angry one, and like, oh, why am I being so mad?
Right. Yeah. And not to, they don't even need to shame themselves or be embarrassed. Like, okay, check in with, like, everything is an opportunity to check in. Everything. Everything. Yeah.
So how about Kamala and Trump? What's going on there? What kind of mirror do they need to look at? I don't think there is.
Gulp.
I don't think there is a mirror. I think it's all about filtering up their political image.
Say that again?
Like, come on, I mean, what, in terms of what we were just talking about, how there's, you can be the honest person, and you can either mirror back their own rage. Yeah. You can hide from it.
Which they're both doing.
Yeah, so that's what I think. That's what's going on. Is there's some sort of like mirroring. They're not really mirroring. They're just giving it back to each other. And it makes me wonder, in the sense of like, where our filter stuff, it's sort of analogous, where there's like a political filter that they're just putting on that makes them look better, but no one's really. I don't know if they're always telling us what they really want to say, but they're trying to say the stuff that they think people want to hear.
See, I hear him on such a crazy deep level.
Yeah, hopefully this makes sense what I'm saying.
I think okay. But it makes sense on a few levels. But I could take your stuff really deep.
Yeah.
They do mean what they're saying to each other, and they do mean to project that.
Yeah.
Because it's how they feel based on what they are experiencing within their own body and their own psyche, and with what's going on around them, and each of them are projecting again their childhood wounds on one another. Because if each of them had healed their childhood stuff or their wounds, period, neither would be behaving the way they are, and therefore we would have two better candidates, and we would be more excited and feeling more safe to kind of see who each one really is, so that we could decide who we want to vote for.
Yeah.
Really, if Kamala came out and she just said, I got to be honest, Trump, you know what, I'm looking forward to the debate with you, and I can't wait, in a genuine way, because you know what, we each clearly care very, very much about our country. We both want a lot of good and love and stability, and we all at the end of the day want the same thing. It just comes out and shows up differently as to how that really happens. But boy, oh boy, if we could, so Trump, hey, really, best man win, best human, win. And I'm going to share how I feel and share all the love I have for our country and Trump. And I want you to do that too, and have Trump say, Kamala, it's really an honor to be here, with you and to do this as well. And yeah, let's both show the country and let them choose. And if you win, I'm going to support you, buddy. And if you win, I'm going to support you.
Boy, that'd be like
can you imagine?
New world we'd live in if that was the way politics were. That'd be wild.
And so if that's how it was, and it could be, it really could be.
And I feel like there are candidates that are like that, but they disappear because media just ignores them. They're not interesting.
Yeah, it's right.
They're too boring.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, that's a whole other deal.
They want the drama.
They want the drama because then the reason that we as humans want drama is that we connect with it on different levels.
Okay, that's
We're
a good way to look
accustomed
at it.
to it. Yep. It's a weird space of safety for us. We identify with it.
You get to react to it too.
You get to react.
You get to
yeah.
stand up against or with.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
You guys, come on. So again, I'm going to plug all the time, and not plug because it's a business and a financial thing, but other than I want to make a ton of money to give a ton back, and I love giving back and being a source of help for people in need. But at the same time, the reason I created mylovedesign.com. You don't have to be single. The focus of it is for singles, to be honest, and to get yourself together and to get truly ready and prepared for love, starting with yourself. And it dives deep and has amazing homework and structure and focus that is honestly really good. And really, I have a lot of really respected therapists. Jen is one of them that's worked on it and worked in it and used it. But it's also for whether you're married or single. There's a Build Your Love House section. It's $40 one time, $40, and it walks you through step by step, 11 steps of a trademark process that I designed almost 30 years ago to seek the reality of all of this Mingo and I have been talking about, and seeing how it's showing up in your life and how it's keeping you from love and the life and the world you desire. Because I swear to God, if every single person join mylovedesign.com, not only would I make a shit ton of money to be able to honestly give back, yes, genuinely give back, because I've been on both sides of all of that, so I get it. But it would just build a better world. That's what we're all about, is just building a better world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just getting people to be more aware.
So mylovedesign.com, go build your love house.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, hold on, I don't mean to, and get people out of their head.
Mm-hmm.
I had somebody, I had a note earlier that someone was going to be sending a question.
Okay.
I'll take them however they happen.
Go.
Oh, okay, no criticism. Okay, sorry, just Mingo and I have just gone so deep, so I gotta get
Yeah, we gotta recenter here, let's
Yep.
zoom.
See, and don't let this offend you. Okay, well, if it does, it does, but we'll work through that. Okay. What are the important first steps to fostering authentic relationships?
Fostering perfect relationships?
No, authentic.
Oh, authentic, okay.
So my reaction to that question, I think it's funny because to me it just seems very saltine cracker, white bread. Let's see, what are the important first steps? But it's a great question. You asked it, and so obviously you want to know. And I love just the simplicity and the eloquence of it, and steps to fostering authentic relationships. What are the important first steps to fostering authentic relationships? Being authentic it's perfect, actually, with regard to my love design.
Yeah.
Being authentic and finding the authenticity within yourself and who you really are, and being that and being okay with that, even in process of healing, being totally okay with it. That's what real love is. And loving yourself really is. Loving yourself is not just these are teeny elements of it that can affect and impact things on a higher level, but these are by no means the main things of self-love, meaning working out at the gym, taking classes, doing all these, being successful in your career, making a lot of money, all those things. Those are not... They're little teeny snippets, I suppose, of a form of some sort of area of self-love.
Yeah.
But self-love is really just getting to a point where you just genuinely know yourself, understand yourself, really are truly your own best friend for real at the highest level. Spiritually, you have healed a lot. You continue to heal. You continue to seek more knowledge to heal and to learn to love others as well. And when people throw stuff at you, like he did with my Botox and my being short,
you could accept it.
That you can just be like, yeah, that's totally cool. You're right. I am short and I have Botox, and I got to figure out why anything bothers me or doesn't bother me, or why I do it or not, or why this or why that, and why him ask, and just be totally cool and still like be able to hug it out.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the theme for the rest of the year. Hug it out.
Just hug it out, man. You know, it's funny.
Yes.
When I was little, when me and my sister would fight, that's what my dad would make us do. We'd get in arguments, and he would make us stand in the living room and hug each other for like 5 minutes.
Be like,
and we would just sit there angry. And my sister loved it. I was like, this is so stupid. My sister was like, yeah, this is great.
Oh, I love it.
It's so funny. But my dad would do that. And I think it worked because we would calm down. And I guess, I don't know. I would just resist it the whole time. Being a little boy, it is like, this is stupid. I don't want to do that. But it's funny that you say that because I've actually experienced that, hugging it out. Yep.
Yeah, when all your cortisol is all just rammed
raging,
and it's like, hug it out, like,
let me hug you really hard. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
Well, so talking about singles, I know, kind of in that vein of that question, or like in the same vein, I know you wanted to talk about singles and Sabotage that you've had this week, or maybe if there's been some stuff you wanted to share. Because maybe that's them not being super authentic, or knowing themselves, or thinking they do, and then maybe getting in their way.
Here's what I loved that was so refreshing, and it's kind of the opposite of Sabotage, and we'll see, but then I'll go into a bit of it. So I have a woman that I may end up representing and working with to help her find her second love, and hopefully her final love.
Yeah.
And she, I get a lot of women that are really angry.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean it's not rightfully so. If they're angry, they're angry. That means they're really hurt. It means they're sad. That means they're scared. That means they're frustrated. It means all sorts of things. But they come angry, and they come carrying the anger and the resentment toward the very thing they want to find and experience love with. It doesn't work. Yeah. It doesn't work. You've got to find a way to heal it, release it genuinely, almost come to a space of finding some sort of love for that person that you once loved, even who hurt you. And that's a whole, again, I never mean to make these sound so simple, or to oversimplify, but anyway, so she's like, hey, I was in this long marriage. I was married to the love of my life. He ended up having an affair. It was devastating. I thought this would be the guy that I was with for the rest of my life, and now here he's gone, and now he's with all these other younger women, and here I am all by myself, and I'm older, and I'm not the same person I used to be. And she's like, so you know what I did? I just decided I didn't want to date anybody but myself. I wanted to meet myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this. I wanted to figure out how I went into that relationship. Well, how did I ignore the red flags? When did I first see that? I mean, she was like going on and on. She said, I went through different therapists, and I ended up finding some great people. I did some really great work. I did a lot of work. And she's like, I really love myself. And she's like, she wasn't the person that said, and so I'm totally ready and I got over all my stuff. She's like, I'm sure I still have stuff that's residual and it will come out.
That's honest.
Yeah, but I feel the most ready and prepared I've ever been, and I'm more excited than ever to find love with a really great man now. Oh, amen.
Yeah, right.
She was just she wasn't, and she's a very successful. There was so much this is the other thing. There was so much and so many things that she could have really, truly boasted about, or in society they like really put her up there. She didn't. She was so incredibly humble, and the whole focus was on love, heart, and healing and connection, instead of here's who I am, here's what I have, here's what I come from, here's what I look like, here's what I have in the bank. This is what I need, this is what he has to have in the bank, this is how tall he needs to be, this is what there was none of that. That's what I freaking get all the time.
Wow.
It's the wrong, have your list, but wrong list. That's the wrong list.
That's not the first step.
First
step is maybe date yourself.
Yeah.
Meet
yourself, and then, would you truly want to date? How safe are you to date, heart-wise? And reactivity-wise, and healed-wise. So, healed-wise isn't a word, but I made it up, so now it is.
It is now.
It is a word now.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was really lovely. And then I have another client that had the polar opposite experience this week.
Yeah.
Really amazing person that I matching her with, and And every way she could possibly sabotage it, she did.
No.
And then the minute you say, hey, let's talk about this, I'm recognizing a really long pattern here, and I really care about you, and I really want you to have amazing love. You deserve it. She couldn't hear any of it.
Yeah.
So, it's my handsome husband. That's how it shows up. My handsome husband. He doesn't know that I'm on my podcast right now.
Come on, handsome husband.
Come on, handsome husband. But anyway, so because of it, because she's, and again, it'd be really easy for me, especially in my past, had this been like even 5 years ago. I've done a lot of work. COVID did some stuff to me too. I feel like COVID did it
for a lot of people, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have been really upset.
Yeah.
I've been like, okay, come on, like tough love.
Listen.
Yeah, come on, let's do this differently. You're getting in your way. Stop it. My contract says this. You can't do this because my contract says you can't sabotage. Okay, so now I just have compassion.
Yeah.
And while she's throwing daggers at me, I'm throwing love at her, love at her, love at her.
That's tough to hold that position, but
nothing else is going to work.
I mean, that's true.
Like, truly.
Yeah, yeah.
And if that doesn't work, then at least I gave it the best shot it had.
Yep.
So, yeah, the moral of the story is go to mylovedesign.com, build your love house. No, seriously. Or don't. Or. Or. That music
listen
was like, yes.
To the love happy hour. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. That's like exactly the same way.
My husband loves it when I make that sound.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, don't sabotage. Date yourself.
Don't make creepy noises.
Yeah.
That are breathy, especially.
Yep. Refrain from Botox so you can
at least too much.
Cry more.
Yeah. Or just have a face that moves to different expressions.
Yeah.
But love yourself.
Yeah,
and love one another.
Less filters, maybe not as much.
Yes. Just slowly pull the filters back.
Yeah.
And just go be love.
Just be yourself.
Peace out.
Love you.